How are you both doing?
Good, Abe. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really like this show, and I'm curious from you first, Sue Ann. How did you hear about this show and what appealed to you about the role?
Oh my gosh. I auditioned, um, and the moment I just remember the first time I read about Violet and reading the script, I cried. I had never encountered anything like that in all my years acting, reading scripts, and two, I um, I just innately, intuitively knew exactly who Violet was, and I was touched, and it was easy to bring her alive.
How much of yourself do you see in Violet?
Uh, Violet is the very pure, authentic, real parts of everything that I've had to hide my entire life. The reason I act is because I've had to hide so much of my autism growing up. I come from a family where appearance is very important. People in politics and whatnot, and so I was groomed from a very young age to not step out of line. And for somebody with autism, it was harrowing. It was very difficult at times. Um, so in a lot of ways, playing Violet was another piece of my own journey to self-acceptance and freedom in the world.
That's nice to hear. And Chris, the relationship between Van and Violet is a very interesting and complicated one. How did you approach that?
Oh man, yeah, it's pretty complicated. So I mean, Van's like a 20-something-year-old guy who just wants to live life. He's a pretty normal, average dude, except he's been put in this extraordinary situation where he's got to look after his sister who's autistic and takes up so much of his time and energy while trying to manage work because his parents aren't around. So he's the main carer. Work, he's trying to spend time with his girlfriend, and it's just tough. And so he's just trying to put it together, and he's hanging on by a thread. And so you understand when he's frustrated at Violet. You understand when it's tough. And when he comes across as a little bit abrasive and a little bit dislikable, you get where it comes from, and you kind of feel for him. But at the same time, he loves his sister so much. So it is kind of complicated because how do you look after her? What's the best way to do? And he's still trying to figure it out. And I think that's his journey for the whole season, is trying to figure out how to better look after Violet and how to sort of open him up a little bit more and not be that, I don't know, tough, traditional Asian love, which is basically that I don't actually love you. That's the appearance.
Do you think that you're like Van in real life?
You mean like probably the bits where he's a bit of a dick. I can be a bit of a dick sometimes, I reckon. I don't know. Van gets angry quite easily too, and I think I have a bit of a short fuse. So I guess all the bad things about Van, I probably am a little bit similar. One thing that's very different is Van drives a Volvo, and I really like cars, and so I'd never drive that car. But I do relate to him, and I think the writing is just spectacular to the point where I'm just rocking up and saying the lines, and they just work. Jason Katims is just phenomenal, and the material he's given us is just next level. So it's very, very real when you watch the show, and also hilarious.
Sue Ann, one of the relationships that I also really appreciate is the one between Violet and Mandy. I think they have this nice sort of friendship that isn't always consistent. But what can you say about that relationship?
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful relationship, and especially when you have the contrast of Violet not getting what she needs from her brother Van, whose family, right? The love is, she's not understanding how he's loving her with his protection. And then with Mandy, she just gets it. She gets what Violet needs. She's there. She can soothe her, comfort her, and relate to her in ways that her brother can't. And so I think having that kind of dynamic to bounce between for Violet really brings the fullness of the entire spectrum of experiences, human experiences to life.
Yeah, and I think my favorite part, of course, is just how Violet is with her roommates, and I'm sure it was a lot of fun working with Albert and with Rick.
Yes, yes. It was like one of my favorite scenes is when, you know, it's the Violetini. They're making these drinks and it's just all sugar, which is so funny because there's so many parts of Violet that's so simple. Like I like love candy, you know. I'm just sit there, and so that was really fun. We had a lot of sugar that morning, and it got joyful, and they were singing. So yeah, I love my casting.
You know, I think it's a really heartwarming and inspirational show, and it's nice to see things that I think we haven't seen before in a lot of ways, and seen characters on the spectrum in these lead roles. Do you think there's anything you've seen like this before, or is this just completely new?
This is groundbreaking. I don't think I've seen this many actors playing authentic roles of, you know, characters with autism. So I think this is going to be a game changer in a big way. Yeah.
I completely agree. I'm really excited for everyone to be able to see it. All 8 episodes drop on Amazon Prime Video on January 21st. Thank you so much, Sue-Ann and Chris, for speaking with me today, and best of
Thank
luck with
you.
the show.
Thank you
Cheers,
so
Abe.
much.
Thanks for having us.